Today is Sunday, September 27th, 2020, and today I'm thinking about idle words, things that people just say without thinking. Matthew chapter 12, verses 36 and 37. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. And we know that words are very important. God made this place with his word. And when humans speak words, most of the time people are just spouting out things without thinking of it first, without thinking about what they're saying. And it's something that becomes really apparent when you wake up and you start paying attention to words like planet that start to trigger you. And for me, different trigger words like wish. People talk about wishing all the time, even though wishing is just some made up thing. There, where does the Bible talk about wishing? Wishing upon stars and all that stuff with, good luck, bad luck. Luck is just another one that's really hard for people to break out of, telling people good luck all the time. There's just little things like that that are ingrained into us from the day we're born because we see it millions of times and we tend to just copy what's around us. And it's something that I noticed before I woke up too. There'd be many instances in my life where I feel like I'm in a movie or something or on TV. I just look around and it's like people are reading, not necessarily that they're reading lines, like, reciting a script, but they say something and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that I've heard a character on TV say that same thing. And I even feel sometimes like, am I really reacting in a genuine way or am I reacting because I've seen this before and I'm just going through the motions? You watch stuff on TV enough, you'll see certain scenarios pop up enough times and you see the characters react in certain ways enough times. You get brainwashed into reacting in the same way. Why do you think there's so many people outside chimping out over the smallest thing? Well, on the TV, almost always the source of conflict on TV is simple misunderstandings that people blow out of proportion and they lie and they hide little things and everything blows up in everybody's face and they're just screaming and yelling at each other. And it's how a lot of people end up acting. And so with this video, I just wanted to show that this is something that Jesus talked about. It's one of those things that Jesus talked about that's hard to apply to your life because you really have to take a step back, think about what you say before it comes out of your mouth. And me personally, being woken up was really helpful for that because I started getting all sorts of trigger words where they would come out of my mouth and I would feel ashamed that I said that word afterwards. For instance, wish or luck. Even just thinking about that, sometimes I think about, oh, good luck will still come to me in my mind, but I've gotten so much better paying attention to what words I say that I can cut that stuff out of my vocabulary. Think before you speak. It's something that we all know. There's so many adages of old that we know are true. Think before you speak. To break the habit of speaking without thinking, you first have to accept the fact that it is up to you to control your tongue. What do you call a person who speaks without thinking? Most people. Why do I speak without thinking? How can I talk to my mind without fear? That's an interesting one. Should you always speak your mind? No. No, which thoughts are yours? Which thoughts have been implanted? This one in particular reminds me of, this is what people today are so wrapped up in their own mind, so wrapped up in their own emotions, that people take this speaking your own mind thing as the greatest thing ever. The people that are, oh, you can't handle me in my worst. Why do you expect to? These people have no concept of maybe the things that you're thinking aren't the best all the time. And maybe it's okay to take a step back and think about things before they come out of your mouth. But today they teach everybody. You go to school and they're going to be teaching you that talking about your feelings all the time is the most important thing ever. And everybody's feelings are equally valid. And just this type of nonsense. Always speak your mind. It is not a good thing. What I wanted to point out here, look at this, 27 common job interview questions and answers. And the most common job interview questions are things like, tell me a little bit about yourself. Now imagine if you had to go online to find out the answers to questions like, tell me a little bit about yourself. This just shows you how fake and phony and plastic everything is today, that people need to look up online how to answer questions about, tell me about yourself. Here are the top 10 interview questions and best answers. Tell me about yourself. Why do you want this job? Why should we hire you? And notice that most of the time people are going to be just shouting out fake answers that they think that people want them to hear. You know, when people say, why do you want this job? It's almost not really acceptable culturally to say because I need money and just leave it at that. I think that's at the root of, you know, why do you want a job? Well, because I want to be able to pay my rent and eat food and all that. But there's this expectation to give false answers all the time, to fluff up your words. They're just in school, you're ingrained into this mindset of there's some correct answer out there. And I don't know, in the ether somewhere, floating around, and the answer is in a textbook somewhere that some authority figure is going to tell you. We get used to just shouting out what we think is the right answer rather than just answering the question truthfully. And I know that you guys know exactly what I'm talking about here. You know, how's your day? You're expected to say fine, thanks, even if you're having a crummy day. Just speech is powerful. Words are powerful. And in that, it's a double-edged sword thing. Yes, words are extremely powerful, but in that way too, if you're wasting your words on reciting things that you heard on TV and saying a bunch of garbage, you're hurting yourself by that. And another true old adage, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say it at all. Now, that's not something that Jesus said, so you can't take these old adages and apply them to your life, you know, everything, because sometimes we need to say things that some people might not take as nice, but it's just one of those instances where, you know, maybe you shouldn't be shouting out a bunch of negative stuff all the time. And here's another one. Control of what people speak about. If you want to know who controls you, look at who are not allowed to criticize. I think that this just goes in the same idea, kind of, I guess, the inverse of it. Things that we're not allowed to talk about, maybe we should be talking about them. Doublespeak, from revenue enhancement to terminal living, how government, business, advertisers, and others use language to deceive you. I like the as above, so below ideas here too. Doublespeak. Are you reading something correct, or is it an upside down, backwards type speak? The way that these people speak, oftentimes, you can take it two ways, completely different meanings. Midwesterners be like, no, yeah, means yes. Yeah, no, means no. And yeah, no, for sure, means definitely. Just a good example of how the words that come out of people's mouths these days oftentimes are meaningless, convoluted jumbles, and we need to simplify our speech and do our best to speak truthfully and be careful about the things that we say. And that's what this video is about. I'll just read this one more time because it's one of the hard teachings of Jesus. Matthew chapter 12, verses 36 and 37. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. And so if you've spent your life just speaking a bunch of hot air phoniness, maybe it's time that you spend your life speaking a bunch of truth to try to make up for that. I know that I have a lot to make up because I used to just be one of those people that would just spout out whatever, and oftentimes just parroting things that I've heard somewhere by some authority figure. So it's time to be truthful and make your speech matter. God bless everyone.